That really is a very nice flat.
If you are a subscriber, welcome back. If you are new to the channel, my name is Neil and I am a real-life architect in the UK. In this video, I'm going to talk about one of my projects. I altered and refurbished this flat in Edinburgh Newtown back in 2019. I never got the chance to take proper photos of the finished job because just as work came to an end, COVID lockdown was declared and the client has been living in the flat ever since. However, the same client worked with me on an even larger property just down the street from this flat, and now that is finished, they are moving the family in and the flat is being sold. The video and photos are from the estate agent's website, thanks to Knight Frank and Square Foot Media for permission to use this. I've put credits and a link in the description below. In case you're wondering, this flat is on the market for offers over 1.2 million. Let's begin with a walkthrough video. I will play it from start to finish and then go back through it again with photos taken before and during construction to show how this was actually built. I will discuss the construction costs, but you need to keep in mind that this project was built in 2019 by a small construction firm. Doing the same work in 2022 would cost at least 40 to 50% more, and if you hire a medium-sized building firm, it will cost even more again, but a larger firm will carry out the work quicker. I will discuss the costs at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. So this property is a first floor flat. The door from the street leads to a common stairwell. Many properties in Edinburgh Newtown have been subdivided over the years, but this was originally designed as a 3-bedroom flat way back in 1822. Once in the flat, there's a tall, well-lit central hallway. This was the main drawing room. It has some original Georgian features, including a bow end, a buffet recess, marble fireplace, and ornate cornice. Across the hall is the new kitchen. This room was originally the master bedroom. One of the big changes between Georgian families and modern families is how much time we spend in the kitchen, so this room had to be special. This little room was also a bedroom, but the client wanted a home office. Many of my clients were working from home even before the pandemic. The room doubles as a second living space in the evening, something families with teenage children find very welcome. This is the master bedroom and, believe it or not, was formed from 3 much smaller rooms. This is where the kitchen was originally located in the flat. More on that later. Because the flat is on a corner, it has one bedroom facing north, while the kitchen, office and drawing room face east. This bedroom looks south over the rear of the property, and you can see the weird geometry in the corners from the original layout. And this is the main bathroom. Okay, so that's the highly polished presentation by the estate agent. This is what the original layout actually looked like. You can see the common stairs and the drawing room, but look at where the original kitchen, store and shower room were located, and look at the shape of the dining room. This is a series of photos I took when the client first bought the flat. The property was previously owned by an elderly lady who lived alone. Neighbours told us she had been there for decades and not made any improvements to the place. Just look at the kitchen units. This plan shows what we actually decided to do with the property. The thin, dashed red lines are walls and doors which were removed. You can see the project involved quite a bit of demolition, so let's look at some photos taken during that process. This is the wall between the original shower and kitchen. This is now the master bedroom. There was a huge amount of rubble created by this process, and it all had to be taken out to the street by hand and removed in a flatbed truck at the end of every day. Another thing to consider when altering mid-level flats like this one, with neighbours above and below, is that many internal walls are load-bearing. I worked with the structural engineer to ensure we had a methodology for taking down these walls so that it didn't affect the properties above. If you are considering this type of work, you should speak to an insurance broker to get appropriate cover, and from recent experience, that type of insurance is becoming more expensive. During the work, we discovered that we were not the first to alter the layout of the flat. You can see this original doorway with brick arch and wooden lintel had been closed up sometime in the past. Because the client wanted the new kitchen in a room which did not have any drainage, and they also wanted to increase the number of bathrooms in the flat, drainage design was a serious issue in the project. I solved this by running 100mm drain pipes along these two walls and then lined those walls using a timber stud frame. This gave us the opportunity to create recessed storage in the new stud frame, like this shelf above the master bed. We also ran extract vents and the boiler flue inside the false wall. As far as possible, we kept the existing internal doors and reused them. The contractor stripped them back to their original wood and refurbished all the original hinges and doorknobs. These were refitted and the doors painted dark grey. The existing windows were in poor condition and these were overhauled. Not many people know this, but sash and case windows can be swung inwards for cleaning and maintenance. They use what are known as butterfly hinges to achieve this. In all the rooms overlooking the street, the inside of the refurbished windows were painted the same grey as the doors. This gives the rooms a very modern look. The original kitchen window at the rear of the flat had been altered over the years, and its sill had been raised to allow the kitchen units to run up to that window. We got permission to reduce the sill back to its original level and install a larger modern sliding sash window with slimline double glazing. This type of double glazing is allowed in conservation areas because it is discreet. The gap between the two panes of glass is less than in normal double glazing. These windows are not as efficient as modern windows, but they are better than single pane glazing. The building regulations treated this as a new window, and because we reduced the sill height below 1100mm, we needed a protective barrier that would prevent someone falling out the open window. I designed these steel bars which are fixed into the stone walls either side. The low sill now has a window seat with storage underneath. The new kitchen dining room, overlooking the private Queen Street Gardens, is the centre of family life. We changed the position of the doorway into this room so it would line up with the door of the drawing room opposite. Other than that, the layout stayed the same. We just installed new modern kitchen units. I designed this feature suspended ceiling to accommodate lights. It adds a sleek, modern touch to the room. The client liked it so much we did something similar to the new home they just moved into. You can see the original floor wasn't all wooden boards. The hallway has stone slabs. This posed a problem when new doorways were formed, as the stone and the wooden boards were not at the same level. In the end, we decided to lay new flooring in all the rooms and the hall because refurbishing the stone and wooden boards would not give a satisfactory finish. They are still there under the new flooring if any future owner wants to have a go. The drawing room was the only room with especially fine cornices, but these had been painted over so many times that it was hard to see the original detail. The contractor suggested a method of refurbishing the cornice which I hadn't seen before. They carefully fixed an adhesive tape to the plaster moulding, and when this was removed, it took 2 centuries of paint with it, revealing the original work beneath. I hope you agree the end result looks stunning, but how much did it cost? The final cost in December 2019 was £116,490 plus VAT. That did not include the kitchen units, bathroom fittings, tiles or the flooring. So all in, this job cost about £180,000 plus VAT. As I said at the beginning, the work was done by a small building firm with very low operating costs, and it was complete just before COVID struck. In 2022, a job of this size and quality would cost at least £250,000, and more likely to achieve a very high standard of finish, £300,000 plus VAT would be required. It's also worth pointing out that this property is Category A listed. That is the highest category of listing by Historic Environment Scotland, equivalent to Grade 1 listing in England. Edinburgh Newtown is a conservation area and also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, so making changes to properties like this requires legal permission. If you own a property like this or are thinking of buying one, I offer online consultations through the Real Life Architect website. See this link up here. I know some people will take issue with the fact we changed the original layout and introduced so many modern features, but keep 2 things in mind. We were not the first people to change the layout of this flat, and if properties aren't allowed to evolve, people will stop using them. If these wonderful old properties aren't lived in, they will eventually turn to ruins. Thank you for watching, and if you want to see more, please hit subscribe.